Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. We're here today on our YouTube Live and we're talking about immigration. We're going to have questions at the end of the discussion. And of course, we're talking about the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, which is basically the PNP, Provincial Nominee Program, but it has a fancy name. But specifically, we're covering the Rural Renewal Program within the Alberta Provincial Nominee Program. And of course, if you have questions at the end of our session, feel free to put your comments and questions. This is an open community and we exchange information. Basically, the AAIP offers a perfect opportunity to have skilled workers settle in rural communities through a direct permanent residency program. Okay. It's basically for specific rural communities within the province of Alberta. And it's designed to fill the shortages and to boost the economy there. In this session, we're going to cover some basic eligibility, why we think this is a great program, what are the disadvantages and advantages, and why you should care. Quick introduction, who am I? I'm Reza from England, Canada, licensed immigration practitioner, and our office specializes in helping businesses and families move across borders. Why are we posting this video? These are made for the purpose of our hands-on immigration knowledge with our worldwide audience, including but not exclusive to existing clients, potential new applicants, and immigration consultants and agencies. If you're thinking about immigrating, we're here to help. Get a free email assessment with us by filling out the form down below. And of course, if you're an active immigration practitioner, we can assist you with outsourcing your back office operations, including assessments, processing, and pre and post landing support. And it's just way more options than just Canada or startup visa. We're a solution provider for Canada, Panama, Portugal, New Zealand, Greece, Dubai, and beyond. Let's cover the eligibility criteria first, folks. We're talking about, hi Anna, we're talking about the Alberta Opportunity Stream Rural Renewal Program, and we'll cover what it all means. Basically, it's an employer-driven skilled worker program that is direct PR. So you could potentially arrive with a PR on arrival without having to come and work for your employer first before being eligible. So you have to have a full-time job offer, right, from an eligible employer in Alberta within the communities that we're going to cover, because we're talking about the rural renewal. It has to be a job offer that matches your previous work experience overseas, at least 1 year of work experience overseas in the past 18 months, okay? In the same position duties, right? You can't be working as a cook and then being hired as an admin officer. You need a language benchmark of 4 or 5. So that's Canadian CLB language benchmark of 4 or 5, depending on the skill level of your job. So if it's a low skilled labor job, it's only 4. But if it's more administrative, professional, or higher, you are expected to have a Canadian language benchmark of 5. Education, of course, minimum high school diploma. If you have a high school diploma, expect to do an education credential assessment even on your high school diploma. And of course, it's got to go through one of the rural communities that is participating as part of the Rural Renewal program in Alberta. And I know it sounds a lot like the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot, which is being renewed now, which is federal across all the provinces except Quebec. But this is a rural program within Alberta under the Provincial Nominee Program, okay? You have to have sufficient funds to show that you can settle with your family in Alberta when you arrive. And of course, there's employer eligibility. Before the Alberta Provincial Nominee Program, no matter which stream or substream you went within Alberta's provincial programs, even the Rural Renewal, there was no real strict employer restrictions. But now there's a lot. They've changed them around and they've made the business legitimacy, right, of the business that's actively employing foreigners or going to sponsor them. So you would have to have at least 2 fiscal years of financials, right? And there are employer either payroll or minimum revenue requirements. And we've posted the link on our article for this with this video as well, so you can look at that. They would have to advertise for at least a month, and it has to be a full-time job. They have to have at least $400,000 of revenue, right, for the latest fiscal year, and employ at least 3 full-time employees to be eligible. However, and independent contractors or so. However, if they don't meet the minimum revenue and full-time employment of 3 employees in Alberta for the employer, they can still nominate, but they still need the 2 years, and they need and they'll be limited on how many people they will be able to sponsor. And there are exemptions, but you need either one of these criteria that we've discussed. What are the advantages? There's no points in this program, folks. You don't need to worry about if you're 55 years old or 35 years old. This is not like a lot of the other provincial nominee programs or express entry where points are allocated. It is eligibility only with an offer of employment. It's a direct PR. So unlike many programs which you may have to gain Canadian work experience or work for the employer, because those are some of those programs like Alberta Opportunity Stream. The Rural Renewal, you don't need to work for the employee before being eligible to be sponsored by them. So you could arrive with a PR, and of course there's an optional work permit to come work for them while you wait for your permanent residency. There's no LMI required. Of course, 100% of all provincial nominee programs are LMI exempt if the employer meets the eligibility criteria and goes through the recruitment efforts. And remember, if you're already in Canada as a worker and you have an open work permit or closed work permit for that employer, they don't need to go through the recruitment efforts to sponsor you through the provincial nominee program, whether it's Rural Renewal or any other program. There's a predictable draw schedule, and this is huge, folks. Have you noticed, like in Ontario, like what are they going to draw? When? Who? What? Alberta has a specific schedule of what draws they're going to do, what the priorities are, and when. So that gives you clarity, which is great. It's a direct path to PR, so no playing around. It's not express entry, so you don't have to worry about being eligible for express entry or having an LMIA to become eligible for express entry. Alberta is very pro-immigration. The minister and the premier have actively pushed the federal government to increase the Alberta province's quota to bring in more immigrants. This is a proactive stance compared to BC and Ontario, which are just like, hey, we're fine. We'll just, get whatever you want us to bring in, we'll bring in. But Alberta is proactive in trying to bring in more talent and skilled workers and investments into the province. So that gives you an idea of where the province stands on immigration. It's a very well-known province. It's the oil and gas. It's a lot of sunshine, a lot of natural parks and good nature. Calgary is definitely a hot spot now for tech startups, and they're trying to attract more tech because oil and gas has always been there, right? It is the oil and gas hub of Canada. The Atlantic has started as well, but this is the hub. Huge ties with the US because of the oil gas industry. And of course, international flights from you do connect directly to Calgary. This is also a huge advantage. What are the disadvantages of the Alberta Rural Renewal Stream? Well, it's important to note that only specific communities participate in this, right? And there's disadvantages. So processing times and multiple priorities. So each community has to give you a local endorsement, which can take up to 2 months. And then you got to take that to the provincial nominee program to be nominated. That's another 6 months, right? So, and each community has their own priorities. Living in remote community, it may not be for everyone to live in a rural town of 5,000, 3,000, or 10,000. However, keep this in mind. In Alberta, the rural communities are the biggest rural communities in any provincial nominee program across Canada. So their rural, like a Fort McMurray, is still the biggest rural you'll find anywhere in Canada. So they have more of an American way of thinking, the Alberta province, where they feel like, like even larger communities are still considered rural. Education opportunities for children would be limited if you're looking for a good university, but of course you can drive to good universities in Calgary, let's say. and then limited employment opportunities. So, when you get hired by a rural employer, that's it. You're probably not going to get another, switching jobs in that rural community is not going to be possible. And of course, until you're PR, you are bound to that employer. Social and cultural adjustments, of course, these are the most popular communities in the rural renewal. Fort McMurray, Grand Prairie, Lethbridge, Red Deer, Lacombe, Medicine Hat, Camrose, and Olds. Okay, each one has its own priorities. Each one has its own little advantages, right? Perks, let's say. Like Lethbridge is a mix of urban and rural. Fort McMurray is big oil industry. It is probably one of the biggest communities down there. Red Deer is huge as well, just located between Calgary and Edmonton, which are the two largest cities in the province of Alberta. But however, keep in mind, there are disadvantages. It is a direct PR, skilled worker, employer driven. Folks, remember, we're always posting about key details on IRCC's programs for professionals, entrepreneurs. And if that's what you're interested in, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. What's the application process? Okay, for the Alberta Rural Renewal stream under the Provincial Nominee Program. Well, get a job offer full-time. Make sure you sign the contract with them. Apply for the community endorsement. So you got to submit the job offer to the community. And the community previously was 3-4 weeks. Now it's around 2 months. Sometimes a bit so. So it depends on the community. They will review, maybe ask some questions on the employer, move forward with an endorsement letter. This endorsement letter you take as an applicant and submit it to the Provincial Nominee Program under the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, AAIP, which is just a PNP. You submit it, you meet the eligibility, you submit all of your documents of the applicant, meeting the job offer, education, language, all the eligibility, settlement funds. They take about 6 months to process. They'll issue a nomination certificate with a letter of support for work permit. So you can apply for a PR and optional work permit. And then you wait. So that could take 15 months, maybe 18, but usually around 15 to 18. And then you arrive, whether with a work permit or PR, that's up to you. And keep in mind, folks, there's been a lot of changes with the Alberta Opportunity, the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program. It's gone through significant changes in the last 6 months. Okay, just to let everyone know. The Alberta Opportunity Stream closed, then it reopened. The employer eligibility became super tight. Okay, we've left a link on our article with this video. And now they have very specific draws on specific dates. They have the tourism stream, which closes the same day. They have the police. There's like a, I don't know what it was called, like a police enforcement stream, like for that category of industries. And of course, there's what else? The priorities have changed, right? Some of the communities, AOS, and of course, the rest of the skilled worker programs under AAIP and the tech worker and family ties. And remember, they're not so easy to be nominated. The Rural Renewal, from our point of view, and the Alberta Opportunity Stream, which is the Alberta Opportunity Stream, you have to be working for your employer locally in Alberta with a work permit to be eligible, but Rural Renewal, you don't need to. And it remains as a top choice compared to Ontario, BC, even Manitoba, Alberta, and even Saskatchewan. Alberta still seems to be a top choice. If you're thinking about immigrating, whether permanently or temporary, you're at the right place. We just don't offer immigration, but we offer solutions. I can guarantee only one point. You'll be there until the end. We'll be there until the end, meaning the immigration is not perfect. So bad or good news, we're there to support you, okay? You're in full control of which program you choose for your immigration. We give you all the options you're eligible for, and then you decide. We have a $1 million eligible liability insurance, which protects you and us from fraud or mistakes. Our team speaks over 10 languages, and we help applicants from 50 different countries. If you're ready to apply and would like a one-on-one session with me, you can book one with the consultation link down below, or tune into our YouTube Live and take us for a test drive, which we are right now. And of course, we're going to go through the questions. Anna, thanks for coming in first. Appreciate it. Tamsanka Dube, hey, how are you? Safa, nice to see you again, man. How's everything on you? Do you think that Alberta can expedite or increase the successful chance if your SUV and business plan will be inside Alberta? Safa, so I assume you're talking about the provincial program. In other words, does the province help in SUV successful or failure in some way? So Safa, in the federal SUV, they have nothing. They have no role. But if you're talking about, hey, I'm going to apply for the provincial startup visa in Alberta, yeah, if one of the two incubators, designated incubators, that is part of that program endorses you with a letter of support and you submit it to the PNP, they will give you a work permit. You run the business inside Alberta. You do the minimum investment of the 50,000 or 100,000, and you pretty much you're a shoo-in for the approval for the nomination, and then you submit it for the PR to the federal. And unlike the federal SUV, if you have a provincial nomination from the province, that's it. You just have to continue to meet the eligibility and admissibility while your PR is in the process. So you're not going to have these crazy SUV federal processing teams looking at the provincial startup visa in Alberta, because it's kind of like an entrepreneur program, to be honest with you. So if that's what you mean, I hope I've answered that question. Otherwise, you repost your question. I'm happy to clarify. Let's see. Angel, how are you, Angel? Wow, time is ticking. You're coming to Canada. Nice. Tamsanka Dube, are the documents submitted to Alberta when you get the PNP invitation to apply the same as what is required under the federal skilled worker when you finally get the 600 points for the provincial nominee program? For example, do you need to submit proof of funds? So yes, Alberta has their own proof of funds depending on the community size, but if you go through the express entry, you also have to meet the federal express entry. So if you're combining express entry with the provincial nominee program in Alberta, or if you're just doing so it depends which settlement fund. So you do need to meet those. They have their own requirements, but if you're connecting it to express entry, you're going to end up doing the express entry checklist. But if it's just PNP without express entry, like the Alberta Opportunity Stream, Rural Renewal Stream, and so forth, they will have their own checklist, which is different. Similar, but it's different because it depends on what you're claiming in your profile when you're doing the Alberta PNP. But again, the Alberta provincial nominee skilled worker stream is linked to the express entry. The ones that are not are the Rural Renewal Program, which is not express entry oriented. Rosita says, Buenos dias, Rosa June. Thank you, Rosita. Nice to see you. Tamsanka Dube said, which city offers better opportunities in your view? Which one has lower cost of living, Calgary or Edmonton? Well, definitely Edmonton, okay? Has lower cost of living because Calgary is a hot spot. Okay, Edmonton is lower. And then if you go to rural communities like Fort McMurray and like Red Deer and all these other places, of course, they're even lower. So you could live in one of these communities like an hour away from Edmonton or Calgary. Satish Lela. Hi, Reza. I'm following your channel from last 6 months. I like your explanation. Thanks for the content. No problem, Satish. Hopefully, we're of some use to you. And keep in mind, folks, we have diversified this year to other immigration programs because of my background. We're not just stuck with Canadian immigration because, like I always say, Canadian immigration is like goat milk flavored chocolate. It's not for everyone. Okay. Yes, Anna, it's called Edmonton. That's the inside joke here in Canada, but it's still good. It still has a huge mall. I remember when I was a kid, I visited that mall. It is cool, but it is a community, like it's a good community. It's affordable. Yes, you've got some rough patches here in Edmonton, but it's still, they have a hockey team. Chanakia Batra. Hi, Reza. I missed most part of this live. I wanted to know how much time does it take to get a PR through this program? Also, is it necessary to work under the employer if he sponsors us? Chanakia, good questions. Here's the two answers. One, it may take 1 to 2 months to get an community endorsement letter from the local community. Then you take that to the provincial nominee office in Alberta, the AAIP. They will take 6 months to process. So that's the whole nomination. Then you submit the PR to the federal government, which can take about 15 to 18 months. Okay, could be 12 months, could be 18 months. So let's take an average. Do you need to work for the employer while your PR is on the program? No, you could stay outside till your PR arrives or is confirmed. Then you arrive with confirmation of PR. Okay. However, if you're applying for the Alberta Opportunity Stream, which is a different program that we did not cover in the stream, you have to be working for your employer to do that. But for the Rural Renewal Stream that we covered in this stream, there's no obligation to be inside Canada. You need to have met the eligibility criteria of your the job offer from outside, and you have to have documentation for it. I hope that's answered your question, Chanakia. Anna, I aspired to move to Edmonton. No, Anna, it's good. I have friends in Edmonton. I used to travel there from Vancouver when I was very young to that big mall. I forgot what the mall was called. No, it's good. I like it. To be honest with you, anywhere except Toronto, I am pro. Okay? Anywhere except Toronto, I'm pro. And you're like, hey, you're living in Toronto, Reza. Your business is there. Your family is there. Why don't you like Toronto? It's a crazy place, you know? But anyways, Chanakia, thanks, Reza. No problem. Anna, yeah, Edmonton is good. I'm telling you, it is a little bit cold, but most parts of Canada are. Vilas Desa, hi Reza, just submitted answers to RCC request for additional information. Okay, that sounds good. Simple ones like PCC and updated business plan, that's good. What next should I expect and what time frame? Thanks and best regards. Vilas, it depends on the officer that's dealing with you. So sometimes within a month you'll get a response, maybe more questions, but 50% chance, no. But I think you'll get more questions. Yeah, I think you'll get more questions. It's not 100%, but you'll get more questions about your business. And what'll happen is that could go back and forth. So you could be going back and forth for 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. Or maybe it's just a quick clarification on one of your co-founders' personal or family information, and then you go into pre-arrival stage. And after that, within 6 months, you can get your PR. But I have a hunch that you're going to go through more business-related questions with your startup, because what I feel like is that they are quite biased towards certain nationalities: Indian, Pakistanis, Iranians, Chinese, Vietnamese, because these and Middle East, because this is the highest volume of startup visa applicants. So they are quite prejudiced towards that. And I'm from the Middle East, so I get it, folks. This is something that I call double standards of Canadians. We have all these protections and we're not supposed to discriminate, but when inside the IRCC there's major discrimination and bias, and it's pretty obvious sometimes, to be honest with you. Tamsanka Dube, how about job opportunities? Which one offers more, Edmonton or Calgary? Edmonton is not bad. Calgary is good too. I don't know. I haven't checked the market comparison, but there are a lot of opportunities in Edmonton. Okay. We should call it by its official name, Edmonton. I don't know why we're calling it Edmonton. But Calgary is good. Calgary is good too. But to be honest, I don't know which one will be definitely better. Calgary, there's more people, there's more activity. It's a little bit more, vibrant. Edmonton, there's a lot of industries. So if in certain industries, you might get a better opportunity there. Safa Salah, let me rephrase. If your business idea of SUV with oil gas companies in Alberta, does this help to get an approval of PR and SUV? So it might be difficult to get the same approval in Toronto. Okay, Safa. So looking at the federal startup visa program, and you're an application, you've submitted an application for PR. I'm just kind of giving a debrief to our audience here. And your startup innovation is related to the oil gas industry. And for however many clients or potential real oil gas businesses in Alberta, which is the hub of Canada, most of the hub for oil gas, have a tie-up with you. Maybe they're doing a pilot. Maybe they have, they're interested in your program. You've engaged with them. Yes, that will help your startup and being processed. Obviously, you do need to meet eligibility and admissibility, but you do need to you do need to have some clients or a distribution partner, a joint venture, something like a pilot project, maybe a place to make or test the product, who knows? But if you do have companies, legit companies, I'm talking about not like little numbered companies that nobody knows where they are, who they are, how many people that for, but legitimate companies that have shown interest and you've engaged with them, and maybe there's some collaboration, That will help you, whether they're in Alberta or any other province. If it's oil gas, then it'll be probably New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Alberta, right? But that's just, we're talking high level here, Safa, right? It doesn't mean that the officer is just going to be happy if you have a letter from an Alberta company. They may want to see more tangibles. Satish Lela, my parents are sponsoring me all the funds around 225,000. Am I eligible for investment in business and get a PR by showing my parents' net worth? No, so there's no direct Satish PR program in Canada except the Quebec Investor Program, which is $1.2 million as of today, August 1st. So just showing money is not going to get you a PR. So you have to either come in under a program like a business program, entrepreneur sort of visa, be employed, start your own business, become employed, or come and study if you have the right profile, and then go through the grind of 4 or 5 years of trying to get a PR. In Canada, that's the deal. If you have 225,000 and you go to any other country, they'll give you a permanent residency like Malta, right? But Canada, no, just showing that money. Maybe Quebec will at 1.2 million, but the rest of the province, they want to see you actively in a business, startup, existing business, investing in a business, running it, or being sponsored by an employer. Maybe you're a highly talented, skilled worker, and you're able to connect with employers who are going to hire you. Vilas Desai, thanks again. So it means 6 months at least. Vilas, don't quote me. Like everyone here knows, startup visa is crazy. You don't know, like somebody might get it in 3-4 months. But earlier this year, before all the changes, yes, but they're making a lot of changes, folks. And you know what's that rumor about the fact that they've eliminated NACO and the CFC, the CVCA, whatever, that are the regulatory designated bodies for the startup visa program. Those have been abolished, and now IRCC will deal directly with them. And our theory is that they don't want any new designated organizations to be added, and they've abolished those designation bodies under the startup visa program. However, we don't know, Vilas, if your confirmation of PR will take 6 months, 8, or 3, but on average, 6 is a safe number. Maybe you'll get lucky and they'll try to push you before the end of this year to get a PR to meet the annual targets. Sometimes I see that happen. Eric Patterson, thanks so much. Is there a recruitment firm in Alberta called Employment and Recruitment Services of Canada? I don't know. The Employment Recruitment Services of Canada. Yeah, I don't know, Eric. Sorry, there's a lot of recruitment firms, so I'm not sure. I've never heard of that firm, and I don't know the names of Alberta recruitment firms. Sorry about that. Vilas Desai, my application is funded by an angel investor, and I thought it would be accelerated the process per IRCC. Well, Vilas, you're already under the accelerated process. There's an officer looking at it. They're asking questions. They're going to make a decision in maybe 3, 2, 4. So you might get a pre-arrival in the next 2 months, and then a confirmation of PR, or you might get more questions. So this is the accelerated process you're going through, just so you know. Safa, this is fair enough. Thanks, you, Rez, a great lawyer we have here, guys. No. I'm just helping out, and we're exchanging information, folks. Vilas Desai, final question, Reza. My mother is 88 years old, and she can be sponsored for super visa by my daughter, who is a PR. She can, yeah. If they meet the minimum income, your daughter, who's a PR, would have to do 1 year minimum income. Based on the IRCC website, your mother-in-law has to have $100,000 medical. Your mother has to have $100,000 medical insurance, and then you apply for a super visa. Whether they're 88, 98, or 58 doesn't matter. It's all about eligibility. The age of the parents and grandparents doesn't matter. That's everyone has different ages. The parents. Yo vlogs. Can we contact and process startup visa from angel investors directly without adding any agent in between? Of course, yo. You can apply for your own immigration. You can get venture capitals, incubators, angel investors. Just be careful that if you are a brand new startup concept, you may not get a very positive response from some of these. But if you have great startup, I'm sure they can find some interest. So there's absolutely no obligation to have an agent, to have a representative for any of the process. You can do it yourself, and people do that. And yeah, some people do well, some people don't, but that's like everything else in the world. Okay. Any other questions, folks, before we gotta put the cable down here before we take off? Eric Patterson retracted, no problem. But folks, we're here every week. So next week again, we're here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified. We're going to cover things like the 200-point LMIA direct PR programs. And then we're going to start doing non-Canadian immigration a little bit in the month, later in the month of September. I'm going to also talk about startup visas soon. Satish Lala. So I can buy an existing business for $225,000 and actively work in that business for a while and get a PR after a while. Well, Satish, that's a very simplified version of putting it. There may be opportunities, but you have to be careful regarding your parents giving you that money. So that may be a small issue. Willis, there's a resume request. Please charge fast $1. What does that mean? At least $1. Okay. Charge at least $1. For what? For what should I charge $1, Villas? Eric Patterson, thank you for answering my question. Yeah, no problem, Eric. I know you retracted that, but I saw it. But Villas, what should I charge $1 for? I don't mind charging $1. Maybe I'll charge an American dollar, because that'll be like 1.385 Canadian dollars, or 1.384. Anna, looking forward to New Zealand immigration content. Are you going to cover Germany? No, Anna, unfortunately, no Germany for the time being. New Zealand, we just have the investor program. We're not doing like a skilled worker program there. It's very high investment. Vilas, you're great at services. Vilas, no problem. I'm not going to charge $1. I'm going to charge $0. That's my charge. Okay. At least Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time here in Toronto, whatever time that is where you are, whether it's evening, morning, afternoon, or the same time. But thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for the positive note. Thanks, Anna, for coming on board. Tam Sanka Dubé, good to see you. Safa Saleh, always good to see you. And please let me know when they actually reply to your PFL response. Angel, looking forward to seeing you here in Canada. Rosita, always good to see you. And Chanakia, good question you asked. And Vilas, thank you for your good vibes, positive vibes, and feedback. And your vlogs, I hope I've answered your question. Thanks, Vilas, and Anna, and everyone, Safa, Angel, Eric as well. Thanks for coming. Sam says, I'm based in Winnipeg, and I'm looking for representation for an LMI exempt work permit under C16. How can we work together? Well, you have our email, Sam, do you? Because, if you're interested, you can reach out to us under the Francophone Mobility Program. I'll put our general email, and you can mention that you discussed, I just put it in the chat. You discussed this on the YouTube live stream. Okay, Sam? Any fees quotes? I have no clue, Sam. I'm not here to quote fees. I'm here just to exchange information, update everyone, and see how everyone's doing on the immigration side. We don't actually quote fees here online. It depends on your case, whether we take it on or not, because we don't take on all the different types of cases. We only take on cases, A, that we feel like we'll win or get a successful result, and 2, it's within our scope of work, because we've limited the number of services that we're offering now, very specific to professionals, businesses, and so forth. Thanks, everyone. Nice to see everyone again. We'll see you soon. And remember, Rohin Patel, do LMI works for forensic professionals? Yeah, for sure. That would be easy, Rohin. Folks, remember, before we take off, there's 2 things you remember, and I always reiterate this. A, apply with a plan. Don't apply for the sake of applying. And 2, you're guilty until proven innocent in the eyes of the Canadian Immigration Department. Okay? Take care, folks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.